rocking East Tennessee High School Sports Podcast, bringing you all the exclusive interviews with some of the hottest players coming out of high school and the coaches from around the country here. Make sure you like and share this podcast and stay tuned in each week. But enough of this, let's get it.
In the lab,
I'm Coach Rock.
Coach O.
We're here with Mr. Quarterback Guru, Gunslinger, Tony Colston. What's going on?
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Tony?
Appreciate you having me on the show
Sir,
today.
appreciate you coming out.
Been looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tony, you know, you do a lot of things from the 707 to your camps and everything. Tell us a little bit how you got started. You know, I know you've been a quarterback. You know, I played with you in high school and got to play 1 year with you in college a little bit. But just tell us how you got started and the mission you're on with the Gunslinger Challenge.
Yeah, I mean, quarterback training was one of those things, man. I never wanted to be a football coach. You know, going to college, I'd had fun playing, but never dreamed to be a coach, man. And, you know, kind of when my career was kind of ending, I actually did a community service class, man, at Tusculum College. They make us do community service for your senior year. I came back to Clinton Middle School and asked Scotty Harrell, you know, the guy who played quarterback before I was there at Clinton, and said, hey, man, let me do some community service hours with you, coach quarterbacks for a few days this week or whatever, and you just sign them off for me. And that's how my career started, man. I had a great time teaching those kids, for, you know, middle school kids, what I was learning in college for 2 weeks. And then parents were like, hey, why don't you coach, man? And I was like, all right. They offered me $500, signed me on for a career, lifetime, you know. And that's what got me into coaching. And, you know, the private training stuff was, you know, really I just was offense coordinator down in Alabama playing arena football. And I had a friend named Andy McCloy that does like private training and did his own business in sports performance training. And he said, man, why don't you train quarterbacks? And he's the one that kind of put the seed in my head. And I started fiddling with it down there, you know, started doing some things. And then when I moved back home in 2011, you know, coached at Austin East for a year, coached at Carter for a year, you know, had to get my coaching thing going. And then I just kind of went full time into coaching quarterbacks, man. Started the Gunslinger Academy in 2013. And then the Gunslinger Challenge, the Gridiron 707 League was just kind of building off of just training the quarterbacks. But, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Speaking a little bit on getting your start with the quarterback training in the area, I always felt that we didn't have that quarterback training in the area for the guys, whether it was youth or high school. How do you kind of feel about that?
No, I agree 100%. You know, when I moved back home in, I guess, 2011, there was really, I think, only one person training quarterbacks in the whole city. And when you background people, you know, they weren't even former quarterback really. You know, it was a guy that was just training quarterbacks, you know, worked for a facility or whatnot. And so I thought, you know, why not try to be a guy? You know, kind of got into it and, you know, really didn't promote it, you know, just ran across one or two kids and trained them. You know, I think Isaiah Hall was one of my first quarterback guys I ever trained, you know, back when he was in 4th grade. You know, he's a senior at Anderson County this year. You know, Jordan Potts was kind of another client that came in back then when he was in 5th grade. You know, he just graduated, signed to Tennessee Tech. He was a Powell, state champion, all-state kid. But, you know, I just kind of got into it like that and just word of mouth. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, I think it's a need, you know, and, you know, when we were growing up in this area, you know, in California, Texas, you know, that's been a job for 25, 30 years. But in Knoxville, Tennessee, the private training business really was not there was nothing there. So it's kind of tough really just to build on, because when I first started, you know, you start getting a few of the high school kids, you know, and a lot of these high school kids, they had already become starters. They're the guy. And then you get them to come out and get a session in, you know, and none of them really wanted to be committed. You know, it's like, well, I'm already the man, you know, I'm starting, so they come a session or two here and there. And so that's kind of where I refocused my whole business, honestly. I started focusing on the young kids, you know, the 4th, 5th, 6th graders. And, you know, those guys started, you know, at that time they started seeing, you know, kids around the country are training, you know, camps are getting bigger, things of that nature. And those kids were the ones that those parents started seeing them grow fast, started learning, and they started being committed. And so, you know, for me, you know, it's hard to, you know, I don't chase people. I've never texted a guy, I never hit a guy on social media and said, hey, come train with me, man. You know, you look like a baller, come train. You know, it's more see somebody training with me, see a kid playing, share a highlight. Oh, who do you work with? Who do you know? You know, and they'll be like, oh, well, we work with a guy named Tony, and that's where I've built my whole business, man. And I focus on those little guys. And I've been lucky, you know, blessed that, you know, those kids have been committed. You know, those parents, you know, committed to the process, and it's a process of progress, man. The way I try to sell it, you know, is it's guaranteed we're going to get better if you just keep showing up. And so taking those kids from 4th grade, you know, the past 2 or 3 years, I've finally started seeing reaping the benefits of those kids that started 4th, 5th, and 6th grade have become the high school guys now.
Right.
And, you know, when we talk about those guys here in a little bit, you know, we've had some really fun times watching those kids actually get to high school that we've been with through elementary, middle school. And that's what makes it fun.
Right.
You know, actually watching them grow and be part of it from the ground roots up and get them there.
Yep.
You know, you feel like you've done something.
Right,
you
right.
know?
You know, you got the camp, and how did that get started? Like, when you had another camp working, and then like kind of seen it and kind of spinned off of it and did your own thing, or you already had it like in your mind, like kind of the whole time?
Yeah, you know, I think you gotta. A lot of people, for me, when it comes to things, it's like I was helping people a ton back in the day.
Right.
You know, it was anybody that was doing 7-on-7 back in 2013 and 14, 15. It was like, I'll just come help. Can I come help? You know, I was just trying to create relationships. And, you know, I won't talk about any in particular groups, but there was a couple groups that were doing camps here in Knoxville. And they just hit me up, you know, or I'd hit them up, and they'd be like, Tony, just work the quarterback part of our group. So I'd come out and do it.
Right.
And just to be honest with you, and you guys have been part of a lot of things over the years, you know, I'd show up and it'd just be unorganized.
Right, right.
You know, you sit there watching, and half the coaches are all over here, no, these kids aren't getting anything. It became a hype type thing. And at one of the camps I helped, you know, I just started looking around. I was like, it's become all about the skills. The quarterbacks aren't getting anything except just take the ball and throw to these guys so they can put on a show.
Right.
And, you know, I said, you know what? In 2 weeks after that camp, within a 2-week period, I said, you know what? I'm going to come up with something for the quarterbacks.
Right.
Something where the quarterbacks are getting detailed instruction, getting tested on what I call the complete quarterback training program. And so I put together, you know, like 30 different movements, drops, throws, and try to get to all the routes and everything. And I said, all right, I'm going to call it the Gunslinger Challenge.
Right.
And I was out coaching at Carter High School at the time. I ended up mowing the yard. I couldn't even use the game field. So I mowed the grass, lined it off, and built my homemade targets.
Right.
And that was the first year, I think it was 2015. And so it was really just an idea of just trying to make something a little bit better and something a little bit more detailed for the specific position. You know?
So, like, but how was the process like? Because you started it here in Knoxville, right?
Yeah.
To now, but now you at the Cowboy Stadium. You've been there for what, maybe 2-3 years now, ain't it?
Yeah.
So like,
Absolutely.
so how did it go from a dream that you did and built from ground up to you at Dallas Cowboys Jerry House? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, man. No, honestly, I think it's like anything, man. I've always been organized.
Right.
I've always been structured. I've always been detailed. And I think if you can teach those three things to any program, any school team or camp, then you can grow it. And so that first year in 2015, I think I invited like 8 kids from Knoxville.
Right.
And so we had 8 kids from Knoxville and a 4th grader, which was Isaiah Hall.
Right.
And one of the kids, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but anyways, we started with 8 kids.
Right.
And my mind really was on Knoxville.
Right.
You know, I hadn't thought about anything bigger, never imagined that we'd have kids from all over the country, to be honest with you. So I was on Knoxville, and then we did that one. So I had a blueprint. And I was like, okay, I've got an idea. It worked. The kids enjoyed it. We had a scoring system. You know, I think that's the biggest thing with the Gunslinger Challenge that makes it what it is it's a scoring system. It's not at the end of the camp, hey coach, who do you think's the best guy? You know, oh well, that guy's got some offers. He needs to win. It's strictly a merit-based. Whoever scores the points wins the competition.
Right.
And quarterback parents all over the country, they think, you know, that's the one thing when I say, hey, what do you like about the Gunslinger Challenge? They just say, we like that we can come in here and know that it's a fair competition. You know, there's no guessing game, there's no favorites and nothing like that. So the next year, you know, I got to thinking, at first I was going to do like a Gunslinger Challenge, East Tennessee, Nashville, and Memphis.
Right.
And for some reason, I just got to thinking, you know what, let's just try to bring kids from everywhere. And so I had a flyer made. One of my friends, Craig Pritchett, played college football with him. He's a coach in Virginia now, head football coach. Played at Tusculum with him. And I had this little Bush League flyer that I put together, and I'm sharing it. And he just hit me up on social media. He's like, Coach, I could probably make you a better flyer, man. And I was like, do what you can, man, because I just had something I made with Microsoft Word, you know what I'm saying? And so he came up with a flyer, and honestly, it's a flyer I use today. I've used it for the past 10 years.
Awesome.
And so put that flyer together and put it out there, and I think I started low. You know, I've never been big on trying to get 1 million kids. You know, it's like try to go with what you know you can get.
Right.
You know, so I was like, all right, I'm going to take 25 kids, and I started. It's one of really the first. You know, it's kind of a marketing tool, but it's a way to get the kids in there. I said, we're going to do it invite only.
Right.
Send your film to me. I'll watch your film, and if you got talent, I'll send you an invitation.
Right.
We'll bring you to the competition. I said, I'm taking 25 kids. And we ended up getting 25 kids from like 12 different states, and they came in, competed, and had a blast. You know, we had a winner. And the next year I said, okay, I'm going to have 40 kids.
Right.
You know, I didn't think too big, but I said, hey, we're going to get 40. The next year we had 40 from like 25 different states. And then I said, okay, let's go 70 kids.
Right.
You know, and then I said 90. And then one with I guess in 2019, I actually used Anderson County's stadium. I said, all right, let's go 120 kids, 40 per age group.
Right.
And let's see what we can do.
Right.
And I think we had 125 kids sign up for that one thing from like 35 different states.
Yeah.
And so the 2019 Gunslinger Challenge was the one that really set it off. You know, because if you take if I took that roster list right now, I mean, there's kids that went to college.
Right.
You know, some of these young kids, you know, that are some of the top quarterbacks in the country right now for their age group. And you know, that's been fun for me. You know, I've never been a big hype guy like, oh, you know, I'm the man or anything like that on that end. But it's fun getting to meet these kids. You know, because we didn't have that process growing up. You know, and so I'm meeting these little 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders that are traveling the country, going to, you know, the Elite 11s, the Gunslinger Challenges, and any big thing they can find. And they keep coming back to the Gunslinger Challenge, and I get to see them the next year. You know, they hit me up on social media, and it's fun, man. And that's my thing. It's personal. You know, it's not just business. You know, and for me, I think that's the coolest part about it. Is I just get to watch these young dudes go through this cool journey that we wish we could have went through at some point. And now it's just like, man, these kids are getting NIL deals now. They're starting as freshmen. You know, there's one kid, Austin Christian down in Florida. He started varsity as an 8th grader this year, and he's a big time quarterback. You know, and so you know, kids like that, man, it's fun to see, you know, fun to watch. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a guy that I met from South Carolina. His son in 8th grade playing, but he can't play varsity, but he can play JV for the high school. But he just called me like 2 days ago and asked me about. He like, this what you was talking about? Cause like we was at Georgia Tech together. Okay. And but I know I think he's gonna try to come to Dallas. He's a tough kid.
Yeah. You know, the Dallas thing was just. You know, I think everything's a blessing, man. You know, it's one of those things that everything just happens for a reason. And I had a staff of guys in 2019 that I brought together, and you know, those guys created their own little camp or whatnot. But one of the guys that stuck with me the whole time, he even worked with other guys for a while, but it's become a really good friend of mine. And he's got some good connections around the country. And he called me one day and he's like, hey man, what do you think about doing the camp in Dallas Cowboy Stadium? And I was like, Coach, I don't know. You know, what's the deal? He was like, well, this is what they charge. And I was like, there's no way. You know, and I was like, well, let's think about it. You know, because at the time, you know, I started the Gunslinger Challenge, you know, the pricing and stuff. You know, I started off at 125 and people haggled me, Coach, this is too much. You know, and now we've been able to bump the price and all that stuff. But the expenses are so much that we kind of had to. But, you know, the Dallas thing, you know, I looked at it, we worked the price, and I said, you know what? Let's try it. And, you know, 2020, I think, was the first year. And, you know, that's been just a bonus, you know, because we've done it in Knoxville every year, you know, going on year 10. This is year 10 this year. I think it's the second longest running quarterback competition in the whole country.
That's awesome.
We've had 700 quarterbacks in 10 years come through. The top guy was actually in the one that won the first Dallas one was a kid named Austin Novosad. And he became a 4-star quarterback, number 8 quarterback in the country. Was committed to Baylor for like 2 years straight, and then last year when he like a week before commitment time, signing day, signed with Oregon. And so he got some reps the other day, so it's pretty cool. And I've been able to keep up with his dad and do like that. So you see those kids like, man, this dude's a baller, you know. So it's like, man, I met that kid. I'm not a big fan guy, but I'm fans of some of the people I meet. And you know, Peyton Manning could walk in the door, you know, or Joe Montana, you know, somebody famous. But like when you see kids, you know, it's my fun part about it, man, is when you see these kids and you meet them and they're humble, they're good people, good kids, and just the way they carry themselves with all this stardom, with social media and stuff now, you know, you learn to respect them a little bit more, you know, because it's hard to stay humble. It's hard to not act like you're the man, you know, and so many, and that's what I love about the quarterback parents I meet nowadays, because they're pushing their kids to be that way, you know, and to hold themselves accountable, and you know, you kind of have to be too, you know, because all eyes are on you. How are you going to act? You know, what type of person are you? And those kids that act like, you know, they're big time and better than everybody else, you know, it's a different type of kid, you know what I'm saying? So I've been fortunate to meet a bunch of parents that are really good parents and showing the kids how to be professionals now at 5th and 6th grade. You know, it's hard to be a pro acting that way at that young of an age, and they do a great job of it, man. And so that's kind of how the Gunslingers grown. We're going into, I guess, 4th year in Dallas this year, January 5th through the 7th. And we'll always have one in Knoxville. And, you know, one of the reasons I keep doing it, people are like, why do you keep doing it in Knoxville? And you know, honestly, sometimes I ask myself, I'm like, yeah, man, go to California, go somewhere else, or maybe even add another event. But the one thing I like about doing it in Knoxville is the fact that my guys, and I'm sure we'll talk about those guys a little bit later. My guys don't have to travel.
Right.
We bring the country to Knoxville,
right.
And we've been blessed that like I said, kids from all over the country come to Knoxville, and our guys from this little area get to compete against those kids and see how they stack up without having to get on flights and travel. And I think it just adds a little incentive to the dudes that train with me to say, hey, we get to compete in this and have some fun with it.
Is the one in Knoxville before Dallas?
No, weather kind of makes that happen. So the one in Dallas is in January. Okay. And it's indoors. We use the stadium for basically half of it, and then we get like an indoor high school facility, which all those high school facilities are pretty nice down there. I mean, they're huge, right? So we use the stadium for part of it, and then we use the high school for the rest of it. Okay. And that's January, and then we come back April. I think it's 19th through the 21st for Knoxville when the weather's a little better. We don't really have a big indoor facility that we can actually use and have full field and do it. So then we're just outside the whole time.
Okay, perfect. You not only got the Gunslinger challenge for the quarterbacks, you also run a gridiron 7-on-7 league. Can you talk to us a little bit about that league?
Yeah, man, the Gridiron League's been one of the most fun things I've ever done. Yeah. It's been some of the most work I've ever done too. I'll tell you that. I got to give credit to Carlos Younger. I know you know him. Me and him met back about 2015. He was doing that Tennessee Gridiron scouting stuff, and I was just training quarterbacks, and we got together. And the 7-on-7 league really started because back in 2015 we had probably 4 travel teams. Right. And travel teams with 7-on-7 is the thing, right? It was the thing. We have a team, and I had a quarterback dad, Sam Bolton, the kid that was from Carter, played at Alcoa for 2 years, got 2 state championships, actually transferred to out to California and played at a high school there for his senior year. Ended up getting player of the year out there. They just wanted to test the skills. Every quarterback that goes to Alcoa, nothing knocking Alcoa at all, but they all win. Yeah. And I talked to his dad one day, and he said, "We're thinking about going to California. What do you think the good or bad on that would be?" And I was like, "Well, if you go out there and he does great, he's real. And if he doesn't, then maybe he's not. And the kid went out there, balled out, and actually after his senior year, ended up signing with Louisville, and I think just this past year got put on full scholarship. His dad hit me up, and so he's on full scholarship at Louisville this year. Awesome. And that's really cool. That's one of my other first clients and whatnot. But the cool story about them is his dad had the opportunity to build the travel team. Right. They wanted to do travel football, 7-on-7, and I was like, well, Sam, you get the kid. I didn't know anybody. Like you guys, y'all know all these kids. Like I didn't really, definitely back then. I knew nobody, and I was like, Sam, put a team together. I'll coach it. Pops will pay for it. We'll have some fun. Right. And so Sam put the heck of a squad together. I wish I could name off all those kids, but we had a group. I think we had about 13, 14 players. All those dudes were studs in Knoxville. His dad supported it. His mom supported it and said, hey, wherever y'all want to travel, we'll set the schedule. And the cool thing about it was I think we did 4 tournaments. Right. The first tournament in Atlanta went like 1-3. Right. And then the next 4 tournaments, first place. Went all over the country, man. Won first place every time. We qualified for the Pylon National Championships, and this was a 15U team, so it was basically 8th and 9th grade kids. Qualified for the Pylon National Championships, and then they had the IMG National Championship tournament too, so we qualified for both. And I guess the cool thing about that, just for 7-on-7, status or whatever, we were the only team ever from Tennessee, high school or middle school, 15U, to qualify for both those tournaments. And I still don't think anybody's ever done that, since. But then we decided you only go to one, because they were kind of at the same time. Right. And we had to pick one. So we picked the Pylon National Championship to go to, and that was like in June. It was on my birthday, actually, back then. And we went down there and ended up winning the national championship, with a group of kids from Knoxville, man. 12 kids, some good parents, one coach, and just went down there and ran the table, man. Beat the Boom team, Boom's big and 7-on-7. Beat those guys in the national championship in Dallas at their practice facility. So that's our first time being in Dallas. We played in the stadium for one game and then got to play in that practice facility. It was pretty nice. And won the whole thing. And then, so coming home, all my little quarterback kids are like, Coach, I want to play 7-on-7. I'm like, bro, I can't afford it. I can't afford to do this. Definitely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams. I was like, then you got to pick one team, and you know how that is. You pick one team, 2 quarterbacks, and everybody else is mad at you. And I got to brainstorming, and I said, you know what? If I can get half you guys to get a team, I'll start a league.
Right.
And at that time, there might only been maybe 1 or 2 leagues in the whole country. You know, everybody was thinking about travel team, and we only had 4 travel teams in all of Knoxville. And I said, okay, we're going to build a league.
Right.
And I brainstormed it, thought it out, reached out to Carlos because you got to have a voice, guys that know people around the area. So me and Carlos partnered on that thing and said, hey, let's build it, man.
Right.
And the first year I think we had like 8 or 9 teams.
Right.
Probably 5 high school teams and 3 15U teams.
Right.
And they stuck with it. We played, and then the next year we ended up having about 15, 20 teams, and then the third year, 25 so teams, and I guess we're going into year 7 this year. Last year we had almost 40 teams, and it's really been able to change the landscape of 7-on-7 in Knoxville.
I mean, like up to that, a lot of kids ain't even playing AAU anymore. They try to juggle both, like, and then they kind of like trying to lean more towards 7-on-7. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the fun part about it because we only had 4 travel teams, and for 7-on-7, like when you only have the travel teams, only the elite 10 or 15% of kids get to play. You got 4 teams, you probably got 15 kids on each team, so you got like 60, 75 kids that are going to get to play 7-on-7.
Right.
And with the league, that other 85% of kids has an opportunity to say, hey, we want to play 7-on-7.
Right.
And, I charge $1,500 per team. And the reason I came up with that is because one of our and you guys have both done travel 7-on-7, one travel tournament averaged out to about $1,500.
One
tournament at least. Hotel, and that's if you don't stay the night. Hotels, tournament fee, gas, food, and all that stuff. And I was like, you know what? One tournament's $1,500, so I'm just going to charge $1,500 per team. We go 8 weeks, and then we do 2 tournaments within the league. And I think the fun thing, when me and Carlos started brainstorming, it's like let's do something different, because everybody plays, right? So I was like, let's keep stats, let's keep stats. Let's keep touchdowns thrown, caught, interceptions. We'll have standings, league leaders, and let's just make it fun for the kids because kids love that stuff, right? And then we start giving out the Player of the Week awards and stuff like that. And you got to think of ways to get people to promote what you're doing. So each week we give 9 awards away, 3 to each age group, and it gets those kids on social media, it gets the parents on there.
Even a huddle.
Yeah, we did huddle. We added huddle to it. So and that was the thing, just as a coaching thing, because a lot of the coaches in the league. Not that they're not coaches, but they don't have film and stuff like that. And so I was looking at it as like, all right, if you want to coach in 7-on-7, you want to try to win. And if you want to try to win, it's good to be able to watch film. So, when we added the huddle, every game gets recorded, every game gets on huddle. So if you're a coach, y'all coach it, you can get on and watch everybody that's played. You can watch the older kids, the younger kids. And then the kids can actually get on there and make their own personal highlight tapes. And right now, highlight tapes and stuff like that is the big thing, right?
I mean, you looking at it, I be telling somebody that, like, the team will lose. I can't remember who I was talking to, but like, kids will lose the game and have a whole photo shoot after the game, after the loss. Then I be like, man, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to see nobody. Let's talk about some of the guys coaching that you train right now.
All right, some of the guys right now, last year we had like 10 starting quarterbacks in high school and quite a few seniors, and they graduated out. Jordan Potts was one of the seniors that I've been super proud of over the years. I got to coach him in 8th grade football with the little 15U Falcons.
Yeah, and
that was fun. We had
that's pretty much the same team that went to Pat, wasn't it?
I was a part of that.
Yeah, your boy played, man. And he got his first touchdown, maybe only touchdown. I promised him I'd get him one, and he got one. I'm proud of him on that end. Don't ever forget me, baby. But I've always tried to be a man of my word when it comes to that coaching thing. But Potts was the cool thing about Potts is he was pretty much my second or third client, and I signed at Tennessee Tech coming out of high school. And the fact that my first kid from elementary all the way through that actually signed a scholarship went to Tennessee Tech. And of course, I'd rather I'd have loved if he'd have went some huge big school, but the fact that he's going to Tennessee Tech was kind of a cool deal. Hey, I went there, you went there, and he's worked his way. I think he's second string right now.
I know he played one of the games he played.
Okay,
when he come to town, he worked with my son a little bit when he came.
Yeah,
so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Right now, some of the kids I've got right now, and just the starting kids for the most part. Josh Keith, of course, at Clinton. Being a Clinton guy. Big, just being able to work with that kid. He's a smart kid, good kid. I think he's got an offer at UT Martin right now.
He committed.
He committed. Yeah, he committed there. The story about that is really cool. Is he went to the Alabama camp and started off, and like how it is. It's hard to get in the main group, right? And so you go to camp, and either you're a camper or you're an invited camper. And he was a camper for a minute, and he worked his way up, threw some good balls, and got pushed up into the main group. And, you know, talking to his dad, you know, one of the cool things about it is Nick Saban started watching him and, you know, saw him throw. And Nick's kind of the guy that gave the call to UT Martin to say, hey, this kid needs an offer. You know? So, you know, super good kid, talented leader, all that good stuff. Isaiah Hall, you know, senior at Anderson County, you know, he was player of the year, Jeff County for 2 years in a row for their conference, offensive player of the year. Made a change to go to AC. You know, those guys were super scheme. You know, all their quarterbacks are always ballers. And so, you know, he wanted to make an opportunity to, you know, get on a team that could develop him. And, you know, I don't think he's got any offers yet, but, you know, hopefully, you know, he's got all the potential, man. He can throw 70 yards. He can run. You know, he's got all the tools for the quarterback to be a baller.
I still think they're going to make a run. And
I do as well.
I think they're about to get high.
You know, they had a tough schedule this first game. You schedule state championship teams your first few games, you're likely to lose a couple, but you're likely to learn a lot too. So hopefully they'll get a run going. You know, Blake Johnson from Seymour, I've had him a couple years. You know, they got a tough thing going up at Seymour, but he's a good kid. You know, working hard. Some of the juniors, you know, Bronson Scribner from Loudon. Loudon's 4-1 or 5-1. They were 4-0 and then just lost. And he's a kid that transferred from CAK to Loudon, and you know, kind of had to work his way in. You know, last year he didn't earn the starting job till like week 7 or 8, and you know, I forget the head coach out there, but his son was a quarterback a few years ago, and they threw the ball a lot. So when they were talking about transfer, I was like, they might be a good school. They can pass the game. So he's a really good quarterback. Jaden Neal, Catholic, you know him. You know, he started as a freshman out there. He's going into his third year starting.
Just broke the Catholic all-time passing record.
I saw his 5,000 5,000 yards or something like that. You know, and he's one of those kids. He's been fun to watch because, you know, they played Powell a couple of years ago. It might have been his freshman year. And did they beat Powell that year?
We went 1-1.
He threw that touchdown at the end of Tommy Witten, right?
That was his freshman year.
And just
Tommy's senior year.
I learned a lot about him in that one particular game because, you know, quarterbacks can get rattled, right? And definitely freshman quarterback, big stage, and that's a big time game. And you know, the one thing I love about him is he's just even keel all day. You never see him get hyped. You never see him get low. He's just focused.
Yeah, I became a fan this summer, man. I seen him 7-on-7. We talked about it every time. He had a cast.
Sling.
He's tough.
He's focused. He's mature. You know, that's what you get from a lot of these kids nowadays, man. It's almost expected. Like when we were growing up, freshman year you're going to play freshman. Sophomore year, no matter how good you are, really, you're going to play JV. Junior year, you got a chance for varsity. It's just kind of the way the thing went. Nowadays, these kids are getting thrown in the fire early. They're getting prepared early, and then they're just maturing a lot of it, you know, just mentally, you know. And I think that's one of the coolest parts about watching them. You know, there's a kid named Brendan Reed from Midway. You know, I just got him. He's 11th grader right now. He's doing pretty good out there. He can move, man.
They got like
they're like 1A football right now, but they're doing some good stuff, man. He's a good little quarterback. You know, sophomores. There's a kid at Greenback named Madden McNeil. He started as a freshman. A couple games. He played 7-on-7 with Jabari at the Rising Stars. He's that kid. And so he started as a freshman for a few games near the end of the season, played a little bit, and then this year as a sophomore, he's been full time. He might have got banged up a little bit, but you know, he started. Another kid I had since 5th grade, Blaine Stansberry, started at Ridge, you know, and he's had a good start. You know, he's a sophomore this year. You know, had a little bit of rough patch here and there, but I mean, pretty good leader, man.
What I like about Blaine is he's no matter a mistake or it's the same.
He's pretty even killed.
Like he throw a thing, he come back in next play, he still throwing that thing. Like some kids shy away, especially when you're young like that. You know,
absolutely. So you know, it's been fun to watch him grow. You know, from 5th grade. You know, you get some of these kids sometimes, and that first couple of sessions, you're just like. I don't know, man. Yeah, but they keep showing up, and he's been one of the kids that just 6th grade progressed, 7th grade was okay, but 8th grade, like it all clicked. He played for Norris up there in Harrison County, and like his 8th grade highlight tape, I remember talking to his dad, and I was like, he's putting all the training to the game. And some kids don't do that. You know, they just play the game, but they don't do what you teach them, you know. And so now, you know, he's starting as a sophomore at Oak Ridge, a big school. You know, they got a big game against Clinton tomorrow night, actually. So that'll be a big game. I guess a couple of other kids. You know, I got a bunch of, you know, like I said, I built my whole program off these young kids. So I've got a ton of little young guys. So some of the JV kids that are really good right now that I think will be names you guys will be talking about. I'm sure you'll be doing this next year and a few years later.
Yes, sir.
You got Madden Guffey at Bearden. He was actually a starter at
Seymour, right?
Seymour as a freshman last year, and just wanted to take a shot to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And, the kid had a couple opportunities to start at some other schools. I won't even name him, but he had a few chances to be starter, and he wanted to go play in Josh Jones' offense, and learn, and so he's a JV quarterback there this year. Hopefully he gets to start to play some varsity here in the next year or two. A kid named Elias Childers, Elias, he played on your Gunslinger team with 707. Yeah, Elias is at Webb, and he's the one that I think Elias could go to any high school in the city and be a starter. His dad's big on private school education, and I've told him, hey man, you want to go somewhere? No, we're going to stick to the private school, and I said, okay, cool. But most schools, if you go to a private school, you're generally like Jaden Neal. Not that he got lucky, but there just wasn't anybody there.
He came into a
and when he came
situation.
he performed,
So
which is good, But very seldomly you get to come into a private school because they can recruit. They're going to bring kids in to where there's nobody there. And so his freshman year, he sat. He's really the only quarterback I've got that's become that 6'4", like
he's
dude.
big.
He's grown. He's got the height. He's got an arm on him. So he's a sophomore at Webb this year. He should be the guy for 2 years after this year. I'm sure he'll get some reps. Going into the season. I'm sure he'll get some reps sooner or later. But Tyson Sutton is a ninth grader at Catholic. Had him since 5th grade. He was from Cobb County. His dad was kind of looking, wanted a place to go. When the Kikinos coach got hired at Catholic this past year, he was my arena football coach. And so I sat down with him and Matthews, and they're like, "Who's your top 8th grade quarterback?" And I said, "Tyson Sutton." And they said, "We want him." And I said, "All right, I'll hit his dad up. Y'all can meet, see, y'all work it out." I've never been big on pushing kids anywhere, but if they ask, I'm like, "Hey, these are the top passing offenses in Knoxville. Y'all do what you do. And if you don't go anywhere, you don't go anywhere. If you do, you do." And that's kind of the way it is, Micah Jones at Alcoa. He's a 9th grader, I think, this year. I've had him for a few years.
They actually both played against each other in JV Monday.
I saw some of the highlights.
Alcoa got the best of us there.
Did they? Okay, Micah's got that talent, man. He played in 7-on-7 2 years ago, and just natural. 7th grader,
he can do
launching,
everything.
40-yard
Both
throws.
of them are dual threat quarterbacks
And
as well.
can run the ball,
Can.
and so Alcoa loves those guys that can run the ball, and then when they can throw it, it just adds some flavor to it. Jack Harrison is a kid that is at West High School right now. He's a 9th grader.
He was at Bearden Middle.
He was at Bearden Middle. He played for the middle school team. They had a really good middle school team 2 years ago, and he went to West, and he started for the JV team right now, and I think I've had him for probably 2 or 3 years now, and he's turned the corner, man. And so he's athletic, and we'll talk about most of these kids are all dual threat quarterbacks. Back when we were playing, I remember my sophomore year of college. In a spring scrimmage, I ran the ball 12 times, and in Monday's meeting, they're like, "What do you think about playing receiver?" Him and the offense coordinator and the other quarterback coach, other quarterback made the meeting before me, and I think he had some ideas to get me out of the way. It was like, "Tony's pretty fast, man. You put him a receiver, And so I show up, and it's like, Coach Dieter Brock was my offense coordinator, Canadian League Hall of Famer. Went to the NFL, was Rookie of the Year in '84. Played against the Bears back in the day, got beat, which is sucks on that loss. But so I learned from a really good. But I remember coming to the meeting, and the other quarterback's up there, and Brock's right there, and he's like, "Hey Tony, what do you think about playing receiver?" And I was just like, I looked at the other quarterback like, "Really?" I looked back at Coach, and I was like, "I'll do what you want, but I'm a quarterback." But nowadays, if you can't run, you can't play. So being a runner almost hampered you back in the day. Now it's like you can't do it. Then sorry, man, we got to put somebody else in there. We got another kid from Hardin Valley. He's been a worker. Some of these kids develop a little bit later, and whatnot. He's grown some. It's Riley Matz. He's a freshman this year. I think he's getting a little bit of JV time. Mason Mitchell from Heritage. He's playing some JV. He's a 9th grader this year. And Heritage, man, I watched film on them the other day. I don't know their coach. One of their quarterbacks.
They throw it a lot. We played them.
Y'all play. I watched some of that. I watched some of that film, and I don't know the name of their coach, but they've got a scheme out there.
They're slinging around.
Like I'm watching the film, and I'm like, man, I tried this against them, and it's like, boom, they did it. And then I'm like, man, off of that, this right here looks good. Boom, they're doing it. So they got a good scheme. It's just a matter, it's X's and O's, Billy's and O's, right? But if you start with a good scheme, generally players want to play in the scheme.
It's kind of how Carter I feel like they kind of had a good scheme. They get some kids.
Yeah, they got to aerate. I mean, I'll be honest, man. Carter, I feel sorry for him to an extent because they're almost QBU here in Knoxville. Because remember Dakota Favre? All right, so Dakota Favre was a Carter kid, and he started as a freshman at Carter, left, two state back-to-back state champion in Central.
Right.
Sam Bolton, Carter kid, left,
Mhm.
2-time state champion at Alcoa. And then the next kid that came in, which his granddad, dad, and everybody played quarterback at Carter was, man, I trained him up.
The one that just
kid that
graduated.
Yeah, the one that just-
he
yeah,
got the
like-
record. He got the record.
he threw
I can't
something
believe
else.
it. What's his name?
I can't
You
remember
wouldn't
his
if you would have
name.
asked me, I could have told you because we were talking about
I'm
him.
sorry,
Yeah.
because I can't remember. Brant Stanton was his granddaddy. Man, he'll come back
He
to
was
it.
number 11. I remember that. I can't remember his name.
He's
My
a
bad.
baller,
Got
man.
the record.
Yeah.
Carter.
Yeah.
If I'm mistaken. That's a record.
Maybe we can figure that one out before it's over. Maybe you can Google that, Antori. Who played quarterback for Carter last year? Because he's a baller. He threw 4,000 yards
so
last year.
good.
You know, even the Martinez kid that was Aaron Scant threw 4,000 yards last year. You know,
Yeah,
so
he
that's
was
big
good
things.
too.
I've got 2 out-of-state kids that are really good. I got a kid named J.J. Reynolds from
Okay.
Pikeville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And he's a freshman this year playing JV. I think he's going to be a baller. And a kid named Deacon Parton from Pineville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And I think I mixed those up. One's at Pineville, one's at Pikeville.
Right,
But
Shout out to
he's-
Kentucky, man.
Yeah, he's starting varsity this year as a freshman.
Okay.
And you know, I get those texts from those parents like,
Okay.
he's starting, but I'm scared to
Oh, man,
death.
trust me.
You know, yeah,
I know. I'm telling you.
it's like, I love that he's playing,
Yeah.
but gosh, I hope they stay healthy.
I hear coaching up all the time, like, bro, like, man, like, but yeah, we ain't gonna keep too much long. You have more
Yeah.
questions for him, coach?
Is it any younger guys right now that's on the rise, or you think we should look out for at the quarterback spot, like 4th graders, 5th graders that you training right now?
Oh man, I've got a
And I
handful.
got a kid I gotta get to you, Aiden Lavernette from Rockwood. I got,
Yeah.
I've trained him a couple times.
yeah. I talked to his mama a couple of days ago. What up, Aiden?
Yeah, Rockwood. Yeah, they got a good little thing going. He played on
Yeah.
the 7-on-17
Yeah.
did.
Mhm.
As this pulls up, I got a few 8th graders right now that I think are, you know, I listed a couple of these of them out, and hopefully this pops up. But some of the 8th graders I think that are going to be really good, and hopefully be some names over the next couple of years. Declan Meisner, he's an 8th grader at Bearden.
Okay.
You know, so Jack left, so Declan should be a Bearden kid, you know,
Right.
freshman next year.
Yeah.
He's one of those kids, and I'll just be honest, and they know it. You know, the first session we ever had, you know, he's down here sidearming it. You know, coaches would hit me up, man, what can you do? I'm like, listen, man, that stuff takes time.
Right.
You ain't just gonna have a session; they're gonna be throwing it like
Right,
this.
right.
But from 7th grade to this year,
Right.
phenomenal. I mean, the kid can throw. His dad sends a highlight to me
Right.
every week, and I'm just like, wow. You know, so
Right.
he's a kid. He can run. You know, he's one of those kids,
Right.
running back, turn quarterback.
Right.
You know, that sort of thing. So Declan, a kid named Everett Lusby at South Dual. He's an 8th grader. He plays baseball, man. Kid's got a rocket.
Yeah.
And you know, I hope they stay up there. But you know, they've got a good thing going.
Yes, sir.
Kyle Clark at Farragut. You know, Farragut's the 8th grade team's undefeated this year.
Yep, sure is.
You know, they've got some really good things going. Kid from Breathitt, Kentucky, a kid named Miles Holland. He's an 8th grader, and they send their highlights, and he's smooth, man. He can throw it, run it. He looks good. I don't know, you know, I don't know much about the area, but there's another kid named Garrett King. He may be one of the
He's from Northview, right?
yeah Northview Academy. You know, he's got the height and size right now.
But he one of them kids. He can do everything. So you know,
He played receiver.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't even a quarterback, and you know they came to me during the 7-on-7 season.
Yeah, we
So we want to try
against him.
quarterback.
They gave our younger team. They gave him head.
Let me go ahead and talk about some of these young guys before this phone dies. Owen Hensley, 4th grader from Halls. Max Glover, 5th grader at Farragut. Jet Hembry, Cott County. I got this other new 5th grade kid, Casey McCamey, actually 3rd grader from Clinton. Probably one of the nicest little strokes I've seen, man. You know, it's 3rd grade. You never know what they're going to grow into. A kid named Carver Clements. Tucker Garner is a 5th grader at Hardin Valley. Little kid's the most natural quarterbacks I've met so far. We've been 3 sessions in, and he's in 6 sessions.
Spinning.
Like, he's picking it up, man. You know, Clay Korth at Granger, Jasper Diggs at Maryville. You know, there's a handful of these little dudes, but I think, you know, some of those kids, you know, that Tucker Garner kid's a kid that can play. You know, Clay Phillips is an 8th grader at Gibbs right now that he's starting for their little 8th grade team. So it's a bunch of them, man. And, you know, that's the fun thing about not, like, being locked down to a school.
Right.
You know, because that, you know, coaches don't want you coaching all their kids. Definitely if you're at a school that kids want to transfer to. And I love coaching. You know, as offense coordinator, 10, 11 years at the high school level, and just not being locked in, knowing that no matter where you play, I can coach you. I'm not trying to pull you somewhere.
Right.
And that's been my fun part because I can just pull for anybody.
Right.
You know, anybody can get it. Anybody can win. I don't care where you play at. You know, just come train, put in the work, be consistent, and we'll make it happen. You know, we'll make it grow.
I think I found that quarterback. Is it Chandler Wilson?
Chandler Wilson. There you go. Chandler Wilson. We got you, baby. You know.
Yes, sir.
Well, Coach, before we get you out of here, go. You want to give everybody your information, how to get in touch with you, how to all that good
About
stuff.
the Gunslinger and Gridiron 707.
Yeah, absolutely. GunslingerAcademy.com. You can find all the information on the quarterback training. The Gunslinger Challenge is on there, January 5th to the 7th of 2024, April 19th to 21st here in Knoxville. The Gridiron 707 League, we'll get that thing started second week of February. We'll start doing sign-ups for that. We'll do the Gridiron 707 League in Knoxville, and we'll have the Tri-Cities division again next year. You know, last year was the first year we found somebody that finally would work with me instead of creating their own league. They said, hey, we'll work with you and try to build what you're doing and copy and blueprint it. And hopefully we can build that a little bit more. You know, I think we had 16 teams last year for the first year, which was pretty impressive, to be honest with you. But 707 is a lot bigger now than it was 5-6 years ago.
I watched the highlights. They had some good
Yeah,
ballers.
they did. They had some good teams, man. So, GunslingerAcademy.com. Find me, do most of my training out here in Knoxville.
I want to hit them with one more thing before I go. Make sure y'all check out the Goon Squad.
Oh, yeah.
Come and try to take our title from us.
We
will be defending it in the Gridiron League. And Coach, I think I hit you with this on Facebook towards the end of the year. I'm glad you spoke on the Tri-City League. Is there any way we can make it happen where the Tri-City champions play against the Knoxville champions this year?
We're going to work on that for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
You know,
Yes,
the
sir.
first year you do something, it's hard to get it. The reason they did it there is because they didn't want to travel to Knoxville.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think as it gets bigger and the teams get more dedicated to it, then.
They're like a Super Bowl.
And when I get the guys, like this year, I'll probably use a different group, to be honest with you, a different couple guys to run it, and they'll be more committed to like working with me and making that work. So,
Yes, sir.
so you know, I think that'll be a big thing for us.
Yeah, it'd be
And
fun.
let's make it fun, right?
Yeah,
Champions need to play champions,
Come
have
on,
some fun.
man.
We can do it all.
Yeah.
You know, an All-Star Weekend is something I had planned too, but we just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah.
Where you take the top league leaders
Mm-hmm.
of each
That'd be dope,
division,
too.
and
Yeah.
just put them on a team.
Oh, man.
One thing about the Gridiron League, I think that's going to be really important this year is we're going to do 4th and 5th grade division.
Yeah.
And I've got
I
enough.
missed that last year.
Yeah, you know, and we've tried to do it, but I just didn't have enough kids I was training at that age.
Right.
And I've got probably about 12 little dudes at that age group, and all we need is 6 teams
Right.
to start the league at that division. And so I think this year we'll be able to pull that 4th and 5th grade
that'd be
division.
good.
in.
Hope we can get a team back.
Oh, man, make sure y'all looking out, man.
Yeah, we
Goon
can
Squad,
thank
sign up. 4th and 5th graders. We need
There
y'all.
you go.
Coach, man, appreciate you, man.
And I appreciate you guys, man. It's always fun.
Thanks, Coach.
Absolutely, man.
Yes, sir.
I love watching guys try to come up with their own lane.
Yeah.
And that's why I respect what y'all are doing. There's a lot of people that see people doing stuff and they copy it.
Yeah,
But
there's been a
they
few
don't-
more shows come out all of a sudden.
There have been, you know, but hey, it's always fun being the one with the blue.
But we raised that.
You know what I'm saying?
First, you know what I'm saying?
And so I respect that, man. I like, and that's why I wanted to get on the show anyway with you guys,
Yeah,
because I like being part of the guys that are innovating and trying to create their own thing.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it, Coach.
Well, another episode in the lab, Coach Rock.
Coach O.
Till next week, we out.
Y'all know what time it is. You just tuned in the lab with Coach Rock and O. East Tennessee High School Sports Podcast. Bringing you all the exclusive interviews with some of the hottest players coming out of high school and the coaches from around the country here. Make sure you like and share this podcast. And stay tuned in each week. But enough of this. Let's get it.
Welcome to In the Lab.
I'm Coach Rock.
Coach O.
Today, we got a special show. We got quarterback from Powell, freshman Jaylon Benjamin, and senior from Catlett,
Antori.
Antori. I mean, Anton supposed to be here, but he didn't make it. What's going on?
What's up, Coach?
Appreciate you.
What's up, Jay? What's up,
Let's
Tori?
start us out, Coach.
Yes, sir. What's up, fellas? What it do, man? Welcome to In the Lab. For the fans that don't know, these are our sons, and we got them on the show today, and we got a series of questions we want to ask them as well. So I'm gonna start with you, Jay. What's been the biggest adjustment from moving from middle school straight to high school varsity?
I'm gonna say going against Steven, the way he plays is electric. Like you never know what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say probably the playbook.
So when you first came, like, how was the speed of the game? Like the first game you got in, was it like the game super fast to you, or was it slow down?
At first it was really fast until Coach Lowe and them was telling me to calm down and stuff. And then after that it was
All
fun.
right.
Okay.
You a big man. You're a senior this year. So what is it like playing with your brother? Like,
Playing with my brothers, man, it's been the past 2 years, we went together as a team.
Right.
I felt like, but like our senior class, like we all came together. We have senior dinner every Thursday. We do Bible study. We just talk about our experiences, and I feel like that made us really close. And if the seniors are close, the rest of the team is close. So it just feels different. I don't know how to explain it. All these past 3 years, it just feel like it's been me out there by myself. But when I'm out there this year, it just feels like we're all together. We're all thinking one same mind.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jay, right back at you. You have arguably the best defensive line in the state. What is it like? And you already kind of touched on Steven a little bit, but what is it like competing against those guys at practice?
It's really the same as Steven, because the whole D line's been there for forever, and they just work together so well. You never know what to do.
It's definitely good to have a defensive line like that coming in as a freshman for sure. Because to be honest, you might not see a better defensive end at practice or in the game.
So one good thing, man, you ain't got to go against them.
Yeah.
So like, who hit the hardest out of all of them? You would say?
Only been hit by Steven and Nico. I'm gonna say Steven, because I didn't see him coming.
So you were like a zone run.
Yeah. So Hall's quarterback in for a rude awakening.
I would say.
Like, do you just play defense over there, correct? Do you want to play offense, or is it something you just do whatever the team needs you to do? You just kind of like.
I really like playing defense more,
right.
But I find offense easier to play than defense. So I can play anywhere on the line. Anywhere on the line, yeah, I can do anything. But offense is easier, but I love playing defense way more. I love making tackles on the backfield. I love going after the quarterback, and blocking's easy. If they need me to block, I'll block.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Jay, going right back at you. 7-on-7, man, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, man. And I actually had a chance to get out there and play with you this year and have some fun and go compete against some of these other squads. So we play a lot of 7-on-7 in our off season. How do you feel that's to help you and prepare you for the high school level?
I say my arm, being able to make the throws in 7-on-7 and making the throws and regular, it's kind of helped me from,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it gotta be good too, like the reps you get, because like you are always the only quarterback, so you ain't splitting time with nobody else. It's just you. So like, do you like being the only quarterback when you 7-on-7? Do you like?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I know you picked up a couple times with the Ducks, and you rotate with them guys. You just rather being like the only guy in the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel that.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
you get all the reps.
You know what I mean?
All the reps.
Going into your senior year, you're about to hit a big point where your dad called it the gauntlet of the schedule. How do you feel like the difference in playing? Even though you ain't played public school, like, but you think the difference in private school and public school in competition wise?
I would say like the biggest difference is probably how fast the game is. We go to about 150 plays each game. Like I feel like it's a little faster than it is, like than regular public school. Because public school, 90, 80 plays, we go way faster. And that's just my opinion. And I would say like the level of people we play, like a lot of them, I feel like a little more high caliber. Like a lot of them have been trained, like a lot of them are boarding school, so they train constantly every day on the weekends. A lot of the schools have them in the film room and always training. I feel like that's the biggest difference from public school. You can't do that in public school. I think that's what sets them apart from public schools, that they have the kids constantly being able to practice and train every single day, every single week. And I feel like that's the biggest skill difference.
So when you play in them games, do it be like, how the crowds in them games? Like, do the game be like super packed, like the packer than public school games, or kind of about the same?
For when we're playing at home, it's about as packed as a public school game. The bigger schools, they're packed a lot. I feel like it's about the same. Some of the public schools have bigger stadiums than us, and they're way more wide known. So I would say that brings in more people, and we travel far a lot. So we can't really bring our fans with us all the time, because that's a long haul. We either go to Nashville, Chattanooga, Memphis. That's all our away games all the time. So Yeah, public school is probably bigger for most of the time.
Bigger
There's
numbers.
Yeah.
But I like the atmosphere at Catholic, and I got a friend that comes as well. Shout out to my dude, Coach Blue. He bring his son, and we got like a little kid zone where the kids can play in the back of the end zone, and he love it. You know, so like, I think some schools are bigger in numbers, but the atmosphere it ain't.
Yeah, I was just wondering, some private school they might be smaller, but they be wild.
I mean, the atmosphere at Catholic is great. Far as going on the road, Chattanooga, Nashville, they take it more serious.
Gotcha.
And that's how I kind of feel about that. They take it more serious, whether it's from tailgating to them yelling at the games to the, everybody painting their body. It's just, I feel like it's just a little more serious the more you head west.
Okay.
All right, this next question for you, Jay. Let me pull this up. Hold on. All right. You all have Howells tomorrow. It's a big rival. What has the build-up been like this week preparing for this game, considering Howells is playing real well right now?
It's been intense. It's been faster. Knowing Steven and them, they are excited about it because we started out what 1-2 at first, and then they undefeated. So they just ready.
Yes, sir.
Now y'all, you say y'all start off 1-2. Y'all on a 2-game winning streak. What you think being the difference in this 2-game winning streak? And y'all been putting up numbers. I think both games y'all been put up 40+ points. What you think been the difference in the game?
Being me and Duke switching, like splitting reps, me being able to throw on some of the things he can't, and just being able to diversify what we do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bring a different element to the game.
Yeah.
And
then also, you make another team prepare for 2 quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? That's taking, instead of preparing for one guy, you know what I'm saying, where you can just get majority of the play. Now you got to do 2, and you got, you know what I'm saying, you got 3 days of practice, and really 2, because Monday kind of short day, because most time they had JV. You know what I mean? So, who y'all got next? I know y'all off this week. Who y'all got?
We got Montgomery Bell and Campbell.
Montgomery Bell. That's the one that got the 4-star, 5-star quarterback now.
Oh, he left last year.
Oh, he left last year.
If I'm not mistaken, he was committed to Ole Miss, decommitted and went to Texas A&M.
Texas A&M with Jimbo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like when you play, like you know what I'm saying, like the Lipstons and because I know y'all trying to build your program back, you know what I'm saying, and back to that level because Cali used to be, the champion. They done won a few times. Had they ever won it in the private school, or they just been winning when they were public?
They just won public.
Okay.
See, that's what I think it is. Like, if Catholic classifies in 5 or 6A,
be one of the best teams.
they one of the best teams there is in the area. But like I said, we in Knoxville with so many schools and so many small radius, we all focus on beating each other up.
Right.
So I didn't have knowledge of these other schools when I was going there. So I go to McCallie, and they got the whole city there screaming, "Go back to Knoxville, Chattanooga!" Like it's more serious. So as a parent, do I focus on Knoxville, or do I try to go expand my horizon and try to beat some of these better teams that I feel that are better teams?
So what do you think as a player? Because it seems like you're going in the right direction. What do you think as a player is going to take to get y'all back on that level where y'all, you know what I'm saying, getting into the 3rd, 4th round into the state?
I would probably say us being consistent every single play, lose penalties, because our offense can go fast, like real fast. Coach Matthews' offense is real fast. He knows how to work these private school teams really well, and I think our defense. Is probably one of the best in the state. We got a lot of returning starters this year. Last year, it was their first time starting. So I think that this year they're ready now because they actually have that experience. So I think our defense can stop the run, can stop short pass. But I just think that, oh crap, I missed it. I lost my train of thought.
It's all right to mess finish it out.
But
it's about finishing.
But yeah, Coach Matthews is real hard on us, like especially with conditioning. He's always keeping it real with us. Like compared to these last 2 years, they're easy. Compared to how he works, just it's just a big difference. The coaches are together and the team's more together than we ever been.
Gotcha.
So I think going forward, if we can just keep staying on the right track, keep practicing hard, and then lock everything down fully, we can go real far and even win the state.
Yeah, cause I'm like you. You know, I feel like your offense, once y'all get high, I can score points with anybody. You know what I'm saying? So
Back to you, Jay. It's early in your career, but have you begun taking college visits already? And if so, where and do you plan on scheduling?
I've been doing a lot of camps over the summer, but like my first visit, I think it's EKU this weekend, and I'll probably go to the schools I went to camps to over the summer. So like Georgia Tech, Kentucky, Tennessee, stuff like that.
Sounds good right there, Coach. Sounds like you got a plan.
Yeah, we got a pretty good plan together. No, I feel like in the state, it's 3 schools, especially in this area. I can't speak for all areas, but for a defensive line, I feel like y'all, West and Powell probably got the 3 best defensive lines in the state. Where do you feel that y'all rank with them other 2 schools? Cause you know, I mean, cause all y'all play together and play against each other, so you know all the kids that's on. You know what I mean? So.
I'm probably gonna say we the best, but maybe that's bias on me. I think we are the best.
Okay.
Powell's second and then West third because Stevens hard to stop no matter what. I mean, you can completely destroy a pass game. Connor Ruth, Keelan, they're probably they're probably the 2 best pass rushers on our team, and me and another kid, number 4, named Grayson Goodell. We're big run stoppers, and we're big pushing the pocket back. Like I'm always pushing offensive linemen in the backfield, and I'm always like I can rush the quarterback too. I can get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and I just think that like combined together, that our front 7 in general can stop a lot of stuff, and I just think that like out of those such things, like we can close the pocket, we can pass rush, we can stop the run, we can do a lot of things that I feel like other defense lines lack, and we can make up for each other's strengths. So that's why I feel like we are the best in the state.
Sounds good. All right, we back at you, Jay. Speaking on the camps a little bit, talk to us about your camp experience this off season.
Oh, it's been fun. Learning from people that's been playing the position longer than I have, and just learning and trying to take it back and put it into what I do on a daily basis. It's been cool.
You know, speaking of camp, like, how is your confidence though? Like, because you know you went to a few camps where it was some 4 or 5 star guys. Like, how do you feel when you get moved to the group with them guys and you in the group playing with them guys?
I feel like it don't really change because I can still make all the throws that they're making, and some even better. Stuff like that.
Do it make your confidence feel better? Like you right there with them guys though?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You know, when they move you from like because you usually have like 2 groups. And they have a group.
Yeah.
They know Tony talked about it earlier. They have a group where like
these the guys
that's
that
in camp, and then
basically
the guys,
invited.
they got the guys who just paid for camp. So when you go from that line from the guys who pay for camp to the guys that's been invited, they gotta like boost your confidence, make you feel good, right?
And you kind of dealt with that, you know, this off season as well. We went to a few camps, and we kind of was like, man, this ain't the best competition over there. And I'm a guy that's always out there recording and stuff like that. So I talk to people like, look, man, watch this guy right here. He gonna kill this guy. Move him over here. So it's done been several camps where I done got you moved from.
Cause I seen like the video you posted. He be killing some of them.
Yeah. So I'm like, nah, this ain't the group he need to be in. Move him over here. And the guy come over here, you check him out.
But that's good, like coaches and like parents, like you go down there and you involved, like you know what I'm saying. You know, like we don't drop them off, like we there.
Yeah,
you know
it's like we camping with them.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So speaking of recruiting, how your recruiting process going?
Pretty good actually. I got like 3 or 4 college visits coming up in October.
Okay.
I got an offer from UVA Wise and Maryville. I'm still not sure where I'm going to commit. I think I'm going to get a couple more offers before the end of the season. But overall, my recruitment's going good. I'm about to post my mid-season film probably tomorrow.
Okay.
Then other than that, I'm going to send them out to coaches. My coach is going to send them out for them.
Okay.
And these last 5 games, we have to play the best I can so I can wrap up some more offers.
You know, this week you off, and you know, I know you bouncing back from an injury. I know you played last week, but you was probably about 75%. So you know, this week is very important. You resting. How you are on your injury, on your progression on your injury?
It's been getting better actually. I can can do a little more running than I can. I can get on my toes more. I've been rolling it out. The coach told me to get like a frozen water bottle and rub my foot on that. It'll help like numb it out, I guess. And I think probably by Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm probably gonna be full speed. Everything. I think. Yeah.
Because they're gonna need you for this. They're gonna need you for this run.
For this gauntlet run, for sure.
Go ahead, Colin.
Yep. Jay, got one more question for you before we get you out here. What was your off-season training like this off-season to prepare yourself?
I trained with Coach Stone, he coach at Bearden, and Tony, and they just really helped me get ready for the season and what I've been through so far. And then going through defenses and stuff like that. It's been a lot.
Yes, sir.
I know both of y'all with Triple F. Y'all still gonna stay with Triple F then this off season? Have you been much since the season? I know it's kind of hard.
I went a couple times to do like some extra work after we lifted. Like I did some running work. I've been really focusing on my strength more than anything because I'm not gonna say my strength take priority, but I wasn't strong. I was skinny and I wasn't as big as everybody. I'm not as tall, so I had to focus on my strength overall. And I've been doing that all 4 years, just getting stronger so I can actually get off and push back. 'Cause my technique is there. I just need to be able to move these guys.
What about you? You gonna go back to Triple F?
Yeah. I ain't really been since the season started. I mean, I've been like maybe a couple times, but other than that, I ain't really.
Just hard to kind of get there once the season starts.
When you get out, I mean, you tired. I mean, you know what I mean? So,
shout out to Lee Smith, Triple F too, man.
I got one question for both of y'all, then I get you out of here. Okay, so Friday before the game, school over with. Just tell me what your preparation is for the game. What get you going to get you motivated for the game? What you listening to?
I usually take a nap every week. Right.
All right. You don't got nothing in your headphones to take a nap and that's it?
Yeah.
What you be bumping?
I don't really be listening to it. I just be asleep.
Focus. That's how you gonna be. That's what's up.
What about you?
Probably like right after school, I ended up putting my girdle and my pants on. Then I would end up stretching, going through our meetings and stuff. And then when we got some downtime, I'll probably just listen to music, sit in my locker, pray, and then just be ready. I just like focus up, tell myself motivational stuff and all that other stuff to just get me focused. And then the team always has a speaker in there too, so like we always get hyped before the game and stuff like that.
That's what's up.
So, yeah.
You got to slap your brother around and tell him quit talking and be quiet, or he be focused.
He be pretty focused too. He be pretty focused. Yeah.
Sometimes you get your little brother, but man, you better chill out.
I'm trying to get focused.
Right.
I got one more question for you guys as well. Is it anything? This for both of y'all. I'll start with you. Is it anything you want to tell a college coach or a coach out there about you?
I'd probably say is size don't matter. I can bully around any offensive lineman. I can get past any offensive lineman. Size don't matter. It don't matter. I'm fast. I'm strong. I'm agile. I can do anything a 6'5" person can do. That's probably what I would tell them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that goes Prime. They're coming together.
Prime time. Let's go, baby. Sign us up.
I don't know. I ain't really ever just thought about what I would tell a coach. I just hold my game. I just
speak
prepare.
for itself.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man.
And when I get the opportunity to play, I just make the best of what I got.
Yeah. You got 3 more years to go at it in the rest of this year, man. So good luck, my dude. Good luck.
Good luck, my guy. Good luck. It's in the labs. Special edition for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We gotta get the other one on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we get him on there anytime. Shut up, baby.
He went that Bearden game.
Yeah, Bearden game. Yeah, he got a lot of guys at Bearden. He like, you know what I mean? Shout out to the Bulldogs.
Coach Rock.
Coach O.
Till next week, we out.
Y'all know what time it is.